The odd details from the July 13, 2024 attempt to assassinate former President Donald Trump just keep piling up. We keep learning more about what happened, but it still isn't making any sense. Attendees of the Butler, Pennsylvania rally where the shooting took place have told multiple news outlets that they could see the would-be assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks, crawling on the roof and preparing to take aim.
I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof.
That witness, Greg Smith, told the BBC that Crooks was probably not visible to the Secret Service agents because of the slope of the roof. Another witness told CBS News that he saw Crooks on the rooftops, going from one building to another. He also noted that law enforcement was made aware. Many more witnesses had similar stories.
A guy beside me looks over and he said, "He has a gun. He has a gun."
So if numerous people at the rally saw the shooter well before he opened fire, why didn't the Secret Service and local police act? This seeming negligence has led numerous people, including Elon Musk and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, to call for Secret Service head Kimberly Cheadle to resign or be fired. Trump's stage was located in front of 3 side-by-side buildings with sloped triangular roofs. There's another smaller building, kitty corner to the stage area, and a larger factory on the other side past some trees. Even though the roof of the building, an AGR International building, was the furthest of all available roofs at around 150 yards, it was certainly within range for an assailant to make a fatal shot with an AR-style rifle like Crooks had. So why wasn't anyone posted up there? ABC News reports that the Secret Service is currently following this exact line of questioning. Crooks was wearing what's been described as gray camouflage while remaining as still as possible once he got in position. After Crooks fired several shots, the Secret Service counter-sniper team at the scene shot and killed him. But they were also quite a distance away from his position, on different rooftops. Where were the agents that seemingly should have been on the AGR building roof? As an unnamed former Secret Service agent told NBC News, "Someone should have been on the roof or securing the building so no one could get on the roof." According to officials, plenty of people agreed that the AGR building was a security threat. What's much less clear is whose responsibility it was to secure it. Sources told NBC News that although the Secret Service had identified the building as a potential problem, they had also told local police to take the responsibility for securing that particular building. However, Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger said, "The Secret Service ran the show. They were the ones who designated who did what. To me, the whole thing is under the jurisdiction of the Secret Service."
I would have expected that they would have had that building secured.
Several days after the shooting, news outlets were still not reporting any concrete answers as to how Crooks got up on the roof or why the building hadn't been included in the Secret Service's secured perimeter. In an interview with ABC News, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle acknowledged that there were a number of buildings in that outlying area that were similarly assigned to local law enforcement for security. But she also noted,
"The Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president."
We know from Cheadle herself that the security of the nearby AGR building had been delegated to local police. The Secret Service director also offered an explanation as to why no one was on the roof, telling ABC News, "That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point, and so there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof, and so the decision was made to secure the building from inside." There have been reports from the BBC and other outlets that there were 3 police snipers inside the AGR building. But a police spokesman told the New York Times that wasn't the case. They said that their officers were in an adjacent building. The Times reported that multiple local law enforcement agencies contended that their counter-snipers were positioned on the 2nd floor of a different building and had been specifically instructed to watch the crowd, not to secure buildings. Likewise, several former Secret Service agents have also stated that a sloped roof is not a factor that unconditionally rules out a building as a location for a sniper or other officers. Some have pointed out another nearby building with an even steeper sloped roof was occupied by Secret Service snipers at the time of the shooting. According to the Washington Post, 86 seconds passed between bystanders' first attempts to warn authorities and the shooting. It has also since come out that local law enforcement officers had been aware of Crooks' presence, and that he had been acting suspiciously long before that. In fact, there's evidence authorities had flagged Crooks as a potential threat well before he climbed the AGR building. There have been reports that officers saw Crooks scouring the ground with a rangefinder. An unnamed U.S. official told NBC News that Crooks had been described as pacing back and forth and behaving in a noticeably strange way while near the magnetometers that had been set up for rally security. Local authorities considered Crooks suspicious enough that they had set off to pursue him on foot, and reportedly relayed that information to the Secret Service. Former Secret Service agents have questioned why plainclothes agents were not sent to respond to the reported threat of Crooks' presence nearby the rally, though there have been some reports that agents were after him and lost sight of the shooter. According to CBS News, two sources familiar with a congressional briefing on the assassination attempt said agents relayed the sighting of Crooks by radio by 5:52 p.m., about 19 minutes before he shot at Trump. Sources also told NBC News that Pennsylvania State Police were aware of Crooks as long as an hour before the shooting, but it took local authorities 30 minutes to relay that information to the Secret Service. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming told NBC News that the Secret Service's briefing to Congress was a, quote, cover-your-ass briefing, noting that the shooter
had a rangefinder, a backpack, and then they lost sight of him and never really followed up on that.
One source told Fox News that sometime on Saturday, Crooks' parents notified police that their son was missing along with his father's AR-style 5.56 rifle. Police have not revealed what, if any, action they took after being contacted by the would-be assassin's family. With all that lead time and a clearly identified threat, it's unclear why Trump was allowed to take the stage at all. According to ABC News, law enforcement officials said Secret Service snipers locked onto Crooks 11 seconds after his first shot, and 15 seconds later, they shot him dead. That may seem fast, but in a heated moment like that, every second counts. Where was the hair-trigger reaction? Two retired snipers, a former Secret Service agent and a former Marine sniper, told the Washington Post the slant of the roof and the surrounding trees likely made it difficult for the two counter-sniper units to acquire their target. Jason Lawless, a retired officer who worked as a sniper with the Tulsa Police Department, said after Crooks took his first shots, one of the snipers on the northern team flinched and took his eye away from the scope before resetting his position. Before Crooks opened fire, the second sniper team, the southernmost one, reoriented itself, which the Post suggested could mean it was aware of the threat. Audio experts heard 10 gunshots across the footage of the incident. They told the Post that the first 8, fired over 6 seconds, had similar audio signatures. Immediately after this flurry of bullets, another came from a different location, followed by the final shot 16 seconds after Crooks began shooting. Both had different acoustic characteristics than the first 8. Though they noted this type of analysis is not 100% accurate, it suggests the security locked onto Crooks about 6 seconds after he started shooting. It certainly made for an iconic photo. Donald Trump with blood on his ear and face, his fist in the air immediately after an assassination attempt. But should agents have allowed him to put parts of his body back into the line of fire? Or retrieve his shoes, which came off when he hit the deck?
Let me get my shoes.
Yes, Crooks was confirmed to be down by then, but Secret Service agents are trained to assume there are multiple shooters. If there happened to be another on July 13th, the former president might have been killed. Richard H., a UK close protection expert and former member of the Royal Military Police, told NBC News, "The moment you know you are getting incoming rounds, you grab hold onto that boss and you throw him into a car and you get out of there as quickly as you can with the maximum amount of aggression." He added, "They stayed on that stage for over a minute. What on earth were they doing? It was shocking." Jeffrey James, a retired 22-year Secret Service veteran, told the New York Times that there would be no wasted time getting the president away from danger if he had been on that stage. He said, "We are going and we are going now. If it's me, I'm buying him a new pair of shoes." Sources told the Washington Post the local police contacted the Secret Service before the Saturday rally to tell officials that they didn't have enough resources to station anyone at the AGR building where Crooks perched. It's unclear why the agency didn't take steps to address the issue with its own resources, or if any were available. Jason Russell, a former Secret Service agent, told the BBC, "The Secret Service doesn't have unlimited resources in terms of agents that they can post everywhere." Former Secret Service agent Evie Pampouris put it this way on Today.
You have to think of the Secret Service like they're the conductor of the orchestra. They create the blueprint and design for the security plan.
In a letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray, Ohio Representative Jim Jordan suggested that the Secret Service may have been stretched too thin, writing, "Whistleblowers have disclosed to the committee that the U.S. Secret Service did not have proper resources for President Trump's campaign event because of staffing shortages due to the NATO summit and First Lady Jill Biden's event in Pittsburgh. According to Roll Call, any security lapses at the rally shouldn't have been due to lack of funding. The Secret Service received over 9% more in overall appropriations for the fiscal 2024 year, for a total of a whopping $3.1 billion, nearly $100 million more than President Joe Biden had requested. Protective operations, which is what finances daily security for heads of state, received $1.4 billion, a boost of approximately 24%. According to the FBI, Crooks used an AR-style .556 rifle in his assassination attempt. Similar weapons were used in the 2015 San Bernardino mass shooting that killed 14 people and wounded 22, and the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting that killed 20 children and 6 adults. The exact model of Crooks' gun is not known, but the very similar Ruger AR-556 has a barrel length of about 1.5 feet and has an overall length of 2.5 to 3 feet, with a weight of about 6.5 pounds. Which raises the question, how did he get that rifle into the area surrounding the rally? According to CBS News, a person familiar with the investigation said that authorities believe Crooks may have hid the weapon beforehand or smuggled it in with his backpack. Officials believe he might have stashed the weapon near an air conditioner unit on the AGR building. A Secret Service source told Fox News that Crooks indeed hid the weapon before the rally, though where is still unclear. The source said, "We went from golf rangefinder to AR-15, and now we have to fill in the gap."